Jumbo, welcome. You are listening to Operation Power, a voice for Black radical politics and revolutionary change. We are your co-hosts. My name is Inez Barron, and I'm joined with my husband, the bold, the outspoken, the one and only, the unbought, the unbossed, the will not be pushed to the side, the outspoken, speak on behalf of our people, take no nonsense.
Charles Barron, back at you, Queen. And
Thank
I'm
you.
honored always to be on with my beautiful African queen wife of 43 years, the stunningly beautiful,
Thank you.
the brilliantly intelligent Inez Barron.
Thank you so much. We're so pleased to be a part of Black Power Media Reloaded, joining all the other programs that they sponsor. And we invite you to look at all of them. And we're so glad that you're here with us. We come to you each Thursday at this time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And we're having an exciting program tonight. It's called You Can Kill a Revolutionary, but You Can't Kill the Revolution. And we're so honored. We're going to have two special guests on, Fred Hampton Jr. and his mother, Akua and Njeri. So stay tuned. Call someone and tell them to join us. Listen in. We've got an exciting program. Once again, you're listening to Operation Power, a voice for Black radical politics and revolutionary change. And we believe that in our tradition, we call on the ancestors. We have a libation in which we invite the ancestors to come to bear witness, to give us guidance, because we know that so many of those who came before us have paid the price, laid the path for us to follow, and we want to acknowledge them. So we do have a video with the libation that we want to share with you now.
Nothing important happens without a libation. And so for this very important presentation, we begin by the pouring of libation. We pour libation first to our first ancestor, to that hidden one who, though hidden, manifests in all things as all things, that God-goddess idea in the universe by any and all names. To our first ancestor, we pour libation, Ashe. We pour libation too to our ancestors because they were the first people on this planet, mothers and fathers of all mankind, flashpoint of the human family. To those ancestors, we pour libation, Ashe. Pour libation too to our ancestors because they were the ones who first gave birth to the idea of civilization, knew we would need a form of governance, and they nurtured that idea along the Nile until it reached its zenith in Kemet. There they built these gigantic monuments as evidence of that great civilization, and they carved instructions on the walls of temples and tombs for us, so we would never forget. To those ancestors, we pour libation, Ashe. Pour libation too to our ancestors because over time they put together all the tenets of civilization and they took those ideas and left the continent. They were the people of the first Exodus. They left Africa and went all over the world and peopled the world. To those ancestors, we pour libation, Ashe. We pour libation too to our ancestors because they did not sit on their laurels. They continued to improve, continued to evolve, and at each point of evolution, they again would leave the continent and settle and resettle the planet. They met themselves coming and going. To those ancestors, we pour libation, Ashe. Pour libation too to those ancestors because over time, they found themselves the object of a forced exodus when they were kidnapped, shackled, cargoed, shipped out of Africa and enslaved in diasporas around the world. To those ancestors, we pour libation, Ashe. Pour libation too to the ancestors left at home, the very young, the aged, the infirm, left to reinvent themselves, depleted of us, human resources. But they were enjoined by us in the diasporas, both objects of a global myopia that ruptured the soul of a people as it ravaged a continent. To those ancestors, we pour libation, Ashe. Pour libation too to those ancestors because over time they began to remember who and what they were. Because no matter where they had been dropped off, they still retained bits and pieces of who and what they were. They retained that African core that described them. They began to remember bits and pieces of a song. They began to remember lines from a rhythm. They began to remember dances that they did in ancient times. They began to remember those ancient drum beats that they now beat out on bare skin. And so to those ancestors, we pour libation, Ashe. Pour libation too to them because they then began to teach each other. They began to resurrect and reconstruct that history and that culture. They became the new Africans wherever they were. They became the new teachers, preachers, archaeologists, the new singers, dancers, the new drummers, the new Jaliyah. They reconstructed that history and our culture and became new Africans everywhere. So to those ancestors, we pour libation. Ashe. Pour libation to those ancestors because they are the ones who passed that information on to us. And so we pour libation to those of you who will watch this presentation, those of you who are the recipients of that pieced together history, of that reconstructed culture. To you, we pour libation. Ashe. Pour libation to our children and those yet to be born. For they are the ones that you must teach. And you can only teach if you know the history. So to you who are learning the history and are passing on that history, and to our children who are learning that history and will pass that history on to all eternity, but they will call your name in all eternity. To our children we pour libation. Ashe.
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 Ashe. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We know it's important that we have our ancestors to continue to guide us and to give that crowd of witnesses cheering us on. So we're pleased to be able to carry on in their tradition. We also want to share with you a brief video about Operation Power. Power, P-O-W-E-R, standing for people operating and working for empowerment and respect. So we do have a video that we're going to share, which talks about some of the accomplishments and how we got started, and many of the things that we are working for in our community here in the East New York section of Brooklyn.
Operation Power stands for people organizing and working for empowerment and respect.
Operation Power is a grassroots social justice organization founded by local community stakeholders, which includes activists, organizers, and leaders who understand that the system as it is currently structured is destroying us and our communities.
The system, the capitalist system, one that promotes human greed over human need, one that promotes profit over people, needs to be dismantled. These local community organizers recognize capitalism needs to be destroyed and replaced with socialism.
Operation Power was founded in 1997 with the understanding that uprooting capitalism needs to begin locally. Operation Power understood that our communities are the perfect vehicle to dismantle this parasitic capitalist system brick by brick, and the economic, political, and cultural institutions and other systems in place in our local community infrastructure. Whether it's the local school board, community board, city council, state assembly, all represents mechanisms to control the destiny of our people.
In 1997, Operation Power launched the campaign Charles Barron for City Council that would lead to over 20 years of radical changes in the East New York community. These changes included over 20,000 units of housing affordable to our community, 3 $88 million schools, over $110 million secured and allocated for community parks, millions secured for library upgrades, and another $42 million for the construction of a new library.
Cultural programs such as the Juneteenth celebration, Kwanzaa programs, and reinterment of Sankofa Park, securing thousands of jobs for local residents.
We've secured political seats that include city council seat, state assembly seat, state committee person, male and female district leader, chair of the local community board members, campaigning and getting a judge from the community elected, county committee seats, block association presidents, tenant presidents, and much more.
And all this was done while being Black radicals. We are Black radicals, which means getting to the root causes of the problems challenging our community. We need to get to the root and not lose ourselves battling the symptoms of this vicious capitalist system, because we know revolution is the solution.
Operation Power believes in Black power for Black people. Black power is still needed and still relevant. Operation Power believes that Black radicalism is the only position we can afford to take, getting to the root of our problem for revolutionary change. Operation Power believes in community control for Black people as the only way to get to self-determination and liberation.
Operation Power believes that we need to move to a more socialist system, a communal system that doesn't suffocate but liberates. With these beliefs, we take collective action for our self-determination and liberation by being a part of Operation Power.
Thank you so much, Operation Power. Some of our beginnings and some of our accomplishments during the time that we have been functioning. Well, here we are. We are excited about today's program. You can kill a revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution. And we've got two great guests. We're going to bring them to this we're going to start. We're going to do the
right. We're going to start. First of all, we have two great guests, good friends of ours, by the way, the one and only Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. and his mother, Akua and Njeri. So we have them on, but before they come on, we do have a tape that we want to show so you can hear Fred Hampton Sr. in his own voice and a powerful piece. He covers a lot of topics, and then we're going to bring on our guest. But this is Fred Hampton Sr. in his own voice and in action.
Of the state of Illinois, Black Panther Party, Fred Hampton. We work with anybody and form coalition with anybody that has revolution on their mind. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips that I am a revolutionary. And you're going to have to keep on saying that. You're going to have to say that I am a proletarian. I am the people. I'm not the pig. You've got to make a distinction. And the people are going to have to attack the pigs. The people are going to have to stand up against the pigs. That's what the Panthers are doing. That's what the Panthers are doing all over the world. We're not a racist organization because we understand that racism is an excuse used for capitalism. And we know that racism is it's a byproduct of capitalism. If we don't hate the motherfucking white people, we hate the oppressor, whether he be white, black, brown, or yellow. We're going to fight racism, not with racism, but we're going to fight with solidarity. We said we're not going to fight capitalism with black capitalism, but we're going to fight it with socialism. Everything would be all right if everything was put back in the hands of the people. And we're going to have to put it back in the hands of the people. And these people in this class have divided themselves. They say, I'm black and I hate white people. I'm white and I hate black people. I'm Latin American and I hate hillbillies. I'm hillbilly and I hate Indians. So we fight amongst each other. Nothing's more important than stopping fascism, because fascism will stop us all. That's the people's thing. Socialism is the people. You're afraid of yourself. If you're afraid of socialism, you're afraid of yourself. With no education, you have neo-colonialism instead of colonialism. What we're talking about is there has to be an educational program. That's very important, because if they don't have an education, then they're nowhere. You dig what I'm saying? They're nowhere because they don't even know why they're doing what they're doing. You understand me? You might get them caught up in because they're poor and they want something. And then if they're not educated, they want more, and before you know it, they'll be capitalists, and before you know it, we have Negro imperialists. Me, myself, you know, I was born in a so-called bourgeois community and had some of the better things you could say in life. And I found that there were more people starving than there was people eating. And I found that more people didn't have clothes than they did have clothes. And I found that I just happened to be one of the few. And I made a commitment to myself that I wouldn't stop doing what I'm doing until all those people are free. You got black Easter, you got black Christmas, you got black brown all day, you got black April Fool. Ain't here toward nobody but black businessmen. And I say that anybody that comes into our community and does any type of situation that does not meet the needs of the masses, then I, Chairman President of the Black Panther Party, says that I catch that nigga by his collar neck and beat him to death with a Black Panther paper. We not doing it. They ain't taking us nowhere. We're going to stay right here with the people. We're going to have to move, and we got to move fast, we got to move hard, and we're going to have to move organized. You can jail revolutionaries, but you can't jail a revolution. Right. We need some guns. Black people need some peace. White people need some peace. And we are going to have to fight. We're going to have to struggle. We're going to have to struggle relentlessly to bring about some peace, because the people that we're asking for peace, they're a bunch of megalomaniac warmongers, and they don't even understand what peace means. And we've got to fight them. We've got to struggle with them to make them understand what peace means. Like we always did, if you ask to make a commitment at the age of 20, and you say, I don't want to make that commitment only because for the simple reason that I'm too young to die, I want to live a little bit longer, what you did, you did already. I'm saying something that might wake up some other exploited people and some other oppressed people, and if all these people ever get together, then these pigs that are exploiting us, we'll be able to run them into the lake. That's why they want to get rid of us. I don't believe I'm going to die from slipping on a piece of ice. I don't believe I'm going to die because I got a bad heart. I don't believe I'm going to die because of lung cancer. I believe that I'm going to be able to die what I was in the things that I was born for. I believe that I'm going to be able to die high off the people. I believe that I will be able to die as a revolutionary in the international revolutionary proletariat struggle. Why don't you live for the people? Why don't you struggle for the people? Why don't you die for the people? All we want to know is that you're doing what we'd be doing if we were here. And you got to do that. You can't do it unless you believe that you can do it. In the spirit of liberation, we understand that they want everybody in the party in jail. So the quick solution, the speedy one, nobody goes. Nobody goes. We all stay right here. With the people. Because we love the people. Okay, you can put your hands down now. We say all power to all people. We say white power to white people. Brown power to brown people. Yellow power to yellow people. Black power to black people. X power to those that we left out. We say Panther power to the Vanguard Party. Before you go to bed tonight, say I am a revolutionary. Make that the last word. Say that. That I am a revolutionary.
One young man, but the people felt his spirit, they felt his energy, they felt his love, and they were inspired by what he did, and they came on board.
Well, Fred Hampton, his spirit lives on with us. Fred Hampton's work will be continued. I believe that all the violence in Chicago would be almost nil if Fred Hampton was still alive and organizing the street organizations the way he was. Fred Hampton was the one who gave us a rainbow coalition. Fred Hampton and Chacha Jimenez and others that dealt with the Black Panther Party and the Young Lords Party. And we should never forget Mark Clark.
That's right.
Let's not forget Mark Clark. He was on duty and they claimed it was a shootout. No, it wasn't. 100 shots went in and only one shot went up. And Mark Clark was someone we should never, ever forget. We mentioned Fred a lot, and I'm sure Fred would appreciate us mentioning Mark Clark. With that, we have his son here, who never got a chance to meet his father. His mother's here. So we're going to, out of respect for the mother, we're going to bring them on now and have Sister Akua and Njeri. And Fred, it's good to see you in Africa, huh? Good to see you.
Yeah, well, yes, indeed. It's always good to see y'all. Revolutionary love and respect. Yes, indeed.
Same here, man. Spitting image of your father, and spirit and fight and everything. So, is your mom on yet?
I don't know if she's on yet.
Okay, well then you take it until she gets on. So December 4th was the assassination date.
Right
on. You've been doing the work, and just give us your reflections of that day, what it means to you, what your father meant to you, even though you didn't get a chance to meet him, how much he meant to you.
Yeah. I even just watching the video clips, it's still a hard hit and a heart hit, HARD and HEART hit. I always say that the politics is unlike groceries or milk. There's no expiration date on it. Chairman Fred was rapping about then. It's still applicable now.
That's right.
56 years later, we just always, two major dates that we always convene is August 30th, that being Chairman Fred's birthday, and December 4th being International Revolution Day, which we mark the days in which the assassinations of Chairman Fred and Defense Captain Mark Clark, and we always make sure we always, acknowledge the assassination of Defense Captain Mark Clark. Also, in fact, we say that's the day in which two of our twin towers, quote unquote, failed. That's the December 4th was one of our September 11 stories, and it was a strategic hit. It was a direct result. As with former Director FBI J. Edgar Hoover said that the Black Panther Party, he said it had to be destroyed by the end of 1969. And there were strategic hits. Who they hit, when they hit them, who they took out. It was just a fly by night. The police coming by and conducting this massacre on my road. It was so detailed that they even law enforcement even knew what pack of cigarettes may likely be at inside the apartment. Group of young brothers ranging from 12 to 14 years old who did unofficial security around the house. The YMCA just arbitrarily sent them out of town on a winter retreat. Members of his staff were placed in isolation in Cook County Jail. One comrade was coming back from dealing with a situation in another branch. I think maybe come from Champaign. Because mind you, Chicago was a branch, Peoria was a branch. Right? These were different branches. Illinois was the chapter in which that chairman was the deputy chairman for the state of Illinois. Of course, Bobby Seale being the national chairman, and Minister U.E.P. Newton being the national Minister of Defense. And this comrade come back from dealing with a situation with local leadership in Champaign. He was pulled over, given a pistol case. But it was odd, the type of exorbitant bond, the ransom they gave him. It came out later on. All this was done to make sure Chairman Fred was isolated. They had blocked the entire. Law enforcement came in Illinois Bell phone trucks. They had blocked the entire block off. They pulled the other occupants from outside their homes. They even had, and I want to say this for the record too. It's William O'Neill was was the one who was exposed to providing a floor plan, but it's still not clear who placed the second off, the knockout drug inside the Kool-Aid of Chairman Fred the night prior. So they came, law enforcement, they blocked the entire block off, and there was a special team equipped. I said special team like a local Navy SEALs, under the tenure of then State's Attorney, Cook County State's Attorney Edward V. Hanyahan, who was at the time Mayor Daley Jr.'s political water boy. He was said to become the next mayor of Chicago, L.V. Henyahan. So they handpicked, and it was some of the ones he grabbed, like the infamous James Gloves Davis, the Negro in notorious history, with throwing his leather gloves on and just, running roughshod on the Black community. But I was also exposed that some of there was not only this was part of the FBI. The FBI orchestrated this, but even I think Doherty, one of the pigs, has CIA connections, Central Intelligence Agency connections. This is something that a lot of people can't grasp. This was something that even during the civil trial, more and more stuff was coming out how deep this was, because providing that it was an orchestrated program by the government. You know what I'm saying? And outside, even nationally speaking, again, one of them has CIA connections. When they came in, they hit the door, and on the occupant says, they knocked on the door and said, "Who's there?" I said, "Tommy." "Tommy who?" And they immediately started shooting, and they they said, Tommy gun. They immediately shot Defense Captain Mark Clark. And the other occupants were saying, stop shooting, we have a pregnant sister here. Other occupants were hit, Lena Brewer, Brenda Harris, Blair Anderson. I think Trulock I don't know if he was hit or not. I can't recall. But my mother to be, who had just turned 19 years old a few days prior, was 8.5 months pregnant with me. The wife, now widow and comrade of Chairman Fred. And she felt the shells coming through the mattress. She'll tell her when she comes on with us, but she was shocked how Chairman Fred was known to usually move fast. She says, although he's a big brother, big person, but he wasn't moving slow, wasn't moving, and she had covered down. She covered down over him, and when the pigs came in, they pulled out of the room. She stepped in her feet into Chairman Fred's slippers, and that was his bathrobe she had on. They took out of the room. They said, "We didn't know we had a broad here," and they placed a pistol on her stomach. And I speak about it. I say, the prenatal care that I received, as opposed to Dr. Stethoscope, was Chicago Police Department's revolver placed on my mother's pregnant belly. And that was the prenatal care I got. Then they went in the room. And they overheard, the pigs overheard saying, "He's barely alive, he'll barely make it now." And they fired several more shots, and those were fatal shots assassinated Chairman Fred. If I can too, I want to say something too. This every year.
Fred, I'm gonna go help your mother try to get on because she's trying to get on.
Okay, right on. Me and her are not the best with this technology yet. Help out.
That's okay.
Give them a high.
Yeah.
So please continue, Chairman Fred, with what you were saying. You said they had to out.
I was going to make a comment about so I have this every year. December 4th, we get even before we had cell phones, we have extra. Our phones get cut off at the house around December 4th and August 30th. And it's like the counting search it intensifies. It becomes more intense. And I want to go on record. This past December 4th was one of the most traumatic. It was inspiring December 4th, but it was some serious situations went down December the 3rd, the night before. And I haven't discussed all the details with my mother. And I want to get the impression that everything is, we come so far 56 years later that we can rest on our laurels. There's still an attack on the legacy of the Black Panther Party.
Yes.
They're still attempt to hijack that legacy. And December the 3rd, I'm still reliving some situations that went down real vivid, you know what I'm saying? And I might want to wait till she get on. I haven't even told all the details, you know what I'm saying? And it was, I had to tighten up my security because the situation that happened. But it reflects the fact that, you know what I'm saying, that again, that this system has a memory that, and it continues to attempt to, gut our legacies in our life. And so, I'll wait to talk about that, but I want to talk about some contradictions that occurred December the 3rd, the day before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you're so accurate. They don't forget, and they try to destroy and taint and disrupt what it is that we know is in fact the case. and they try to appropriate whatever good we did and call it their
Yeah.
own. So they take over, now follow the example of the Black Panther
Yes.
Party in terms of feeding people, and Charles,
Yes.
we looked at the video and it talked about how your dad was organizing the so-called gangs, the street organizations in Chicago,
Yes.
having them come together and calling them the Rainbow Coalition. And the work that he
Yeah.
did, the work that you continue to do in that regard, how we're making sure that we've got to educate our people, elevate their mind, get them to move beyond just having those first material needs met, to be able now to elevate their understanding and to bring their consciousness to a level that has them understand it's more than just those material things and concrete things. We got to get to the spirit, we got to get to the love, we got to get to the community and the union. So talk a little bit about that work that your father did and that you're doing in terms of forming those kinds of coalitions and elevating people and bringing them together to understand that there's a common enemy that we're looking at. There's a common threat, and we have to address that.
Yeah. Yes. If I can attempt to put it in context or set the framework of like even where that revolutionary move was made with the Rainbow Coalition, city of Chicago, which for all practical purposes, was and remains the top segregated city in the country. The race question is real. Anywhere where imperialism in particular is a major tool that's utilized by that imperialist, the question of race. And to be able to deal with it in Chicago, in fact, Dr. King had said that he had been throughout Alabama and other parts of the South, but he had never seen such intense with the race question, the racism, as he witnessed in Chicago. And to to be able to deal with it, Chairman Fred was on with a politic that that was cognizant of who he was, even as a child, grew up. There are stories about how he challenged contradictions about there not being a black swimming pool facility available for black children. And how and some of his classmates who told me about this, they recall being 12 years old and him taking he picking out certain classmates. He picking out which ones he's going to pick. And one elder sister was telling me about it. He recalled some people he didn't pick. He took them. He got these branches, these twigs, and these cardboard posters. I said, "Excuse me." She said, "You heard me. Twigs and cardboard." He took them at 12, 13 years old. He took down to the police station to protest no swimming pool facility. And when he got there, she said the police threw out tear gas canisters out there. She said he took the live tear gas canister and threw it back in the police station, 12, 13 years old. And she said she recalls that. Even before that, his older brother was attacked, assaulted by some white boys in school. He wasn't even in school yet. He took a wagon full of bottles to the school to deal with this situation as a child. So even to be clear, to be college, a lot of times people talk about they talk about coalition building. And I use an analogy. You can't go to a block club party if you don't know your own address, your home address. Right. You can't talk about coalition building if you're not clear who you are. He was clear who he was. You know what I'm saying? As a black man, he's clear about that. And even when he went to go deal with these different forces, time, like politics, taking like real estate, timing, location, who he met with, who he took with him. The Young Patriots, for example, they were so reactionary. Who were poor whites? They were wearing Confederate flags on their jackets. Chairman Fred, how he went to it, who he approached, which ones. There's a historical when me and Chairman Cha Jimenez, the founder of the leadership of the Young Lords, and his daughter Melissa just did an interview. We was talking about how when Chairman Cha was locked up, when he got out, Chairman Fred was right there at the police station, right there with him, so waiting on him, and that's they first had touched. They met under contested conditions, and they ended up not being fair weather friends or just some sort of we just homies. There's a connection under contested conditions. The disciples, the formerly known Delta disciples, later became the Black disciples. They tell me this story about. They recall it was a notorious Chicago pig they called, I think maybe in red. He pulled up in the wagon, and when he pulled up, everybody would disperse. But they say when Chairman Fred, the disciples were meeting, Chairman Fred came out there, the pig pulled up, and the pig said, nobody dispersed. He said, "You know who I am?" And Chairman Fred said, yeah, we know who you are. You know your history. You know, the community, them days are over with, you know, and call a question. And they stuck with the disciples. They talk about that, you know, the double disciples who later became the black disciples who they worked at the free breakfast program. You know, the principal stance he took when the FBI gave the vice lords a proposition that they would get them a whole area if the Panthers can open a free medical center on 16th Street. He won, and he didn't take a position. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, the Rainbow Coalition wasn't some sort of kumbaya, we all love each other. There were contradictions. And he called those contradictions, and he won them to work in the free medical center. You know what I'm saying? And by the government's own account, there's a record low, what they call black on black crime. And I heard about when Chairman Fred was going to meet with Jeff Ford, Chief Imam Malik, who's a political prisoner right now to this day. When Chairman went, he did role play with folding chairs. He told, you know what I'm saying? When we pull up, that door opens, that door closes. You know what I'm saying? About structure. How, you know what I'm saying? These are different dynamics you take into account, you know, when organizing. And you know, one of them, we talking about even fast forward to the day, my president organized it. One of America's policies is to create chaos and then restore order. This is in Afghanistan, the Philippines, Africa, you know what I'm saying, in Chicago and other places. So they picked out certain organizations, certain, you know what I'm saying, they knew who to target, those strategic strikes, who to lock up, dismantled these organizations, you know what I'm saying, to create chaotic situations. So we don't have the same structure that, you know what I'm saying, that you respect the structure that you had, not only with the revolutionary organizations, but even street organizations, you know. There was a major hit put with them. And we say anybody that believes the government want to stop crime, you believe Don King want to stop boxing. It's an economy set up for it. So that's you know, like even today we call the straight street sessions. We said we can't get them cats to come to the meetings, take the meetings to them cats. You know what I'm saying? We had the triple C's, children, community, you know, and Cubs. Our survival programs are intertwined with the people. We intertwine in theory and practice. And that's what Chairman Fred did with the Rainbow Coalition. That's what we do. We had a present-day Rainbow Coalition. Well, you know what, we stand around North Dakota with the indigenous community, tying in the cases of Benapel, Tia, Mumuya, Wujamal. And one thing I want to say about what's significant about with these coalitions. Unlike a lot of times when different people, a lot of people say they want to do coalition work with us, they want to assist you, it comes at the expense of your self-determination. They just say, so we're going to stand with you, but however, we're going to speak for you. That's not when Chairman Fred, when he dealt with these different forces, when we deal with these present-day forces, we respect self-determination. That's the major entity we respect. We have differences, but you know what I'm saying? Well, again, we respect the present entity of self-determination.
Well, you know what's interesting? He really loved the people, you know, like Ernesto Che Guevara said, revolutionaries are motivated by love, not hate, not violence, but love. Even to the point where they arrested him for getting ice cream for the children. Talk about that a little bit.
That case right on the corner of 17th and Warren, right down the street from the Hampton house in which he grew up in. And the case in which the government claimed that he supposed to $71 worth of ice cream from a Good Humor ice cream truck. And notice I still say I know it's Good Humor because I grew up never to this day we cannot patronize Good Humor ice cream to this very day. That sticks in our whole. We say because of the role that Good Humor was used as a tool by the government to frame Chairman Fred. And there was another brother who actually came out and said he done the case. In fact, I spoke at this brother's funeral. This brother, Goon, I don't know if I'm getting his name wrong. Forgive me. But ironically, he's the major leadership for one of the street organizations. But he said he done it, and the state position was, no, we want Chairman Fred up the streets. And they gave him the case, and Chairman Fred talked about the case. He said, even though they lied on me, made me have to be a thief, they made me have to be a Robin Hood type of thief. They still showed the true nature of a Panther, give it to the people. And he was sent to Stateville. And at that time in Stateville prison, you would be called by your number as opposed to your name. Whenever they approached him with the number, if he responded, his only response was beyond Deputy Chairman Fred Hampton, Illinois Chapter Chairman of the Black Panther Party. And they had deemed him to be what they call criminally mentally insane for refusing to answer the number. Similar to during the era of chattel slavery. They said you had drapetomania. Some of you was crazy for trying to escape. So there's something's wrong with you.
Right. Imagine.
And they transferred him to Menard. Menard is a notorious place. And unfortunately, unfortunately and fortunately, I speak from some actual experience there. And I say fortunately because I've learned so much about Chairman Fred through to start these experiences. They sent him there in 1969, and I was sent there in 1999. And I met some of the brothers that was there, and their hustle was to attack problem prisoners. That was their hustle for a cup of coffee, a conjugal visit, whatever. And their plan was to hit Chairman Fred when he got there. And they telling me this, brother. They telling me this. They said when he got to that prison yard, there was their plan. They said when he hit that yard, they said when he talked for a few seconds, a few minutes, they said just him when he started talking. They told the warden, we are now on Chairman Fred's security. Anything happened to him, we holding you accountable for it. And this was it, this ironically, I'm thinking about this now out loud. One of the brothers who was there, who had never got out, he was there in '69 and was still there. When I was there, he recently passed. And we organized funds to bring his body back, and I spoke at his funeral. It's weird. A nickname they had given me in Menard was Deja Vu. That was one of the monikers, the nickname they gave me, because I had to be put in the same cell house, same unit, and they finally tested away. Don't tell me. I don't know if I was in the same cell, but that was one of the names they give me, Deja Vu.
Wow, powerful. Fred Hampton Sr., he was really hard on discipline. I understand that when it came to discipline, you had to get up early, you had to exercise, you had to read, you had to study. It wasn't just going out there talking stuff or going out there and even just eating breakfast, but there was a certain regimentation of discipline that Fred had.
Yes, and it wasn't a stoic code. It was intertwined, my mother would tell me stories. He referred to us Hamp. He would call Hamp. Hey Hamp, check this out. Like even I tell people, I tell people people told I say I'm not a relationship specialist. But people say, well, if this person is not involved in the work and they're in a relationship, I say I don't know, but it's a difficult dynamic because it's hard to do battle on the battlefield and battle in the bedroom. You know what I'm saying? You're fighting for the mind. There's a politic that comes with this, and how he would intertwine in every discussion. You would hear stories about it. How, there's an old saying: if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. How people engage in it. You hear about people looking forward to get up early in the morning. The free breakfast program. It wasn't some 9 to 5 type of job. It wasn't detached from who you are. It was part of you. It wasn't. It was an atmosphere, a revolutionary atmosphere. You would hear about the community. Like we distinguish a war from a revolution. War where you have your respective armies, when you get out, they get out. But a revolution, when you gain the minds and participation of the masses of the people, what else? The clarity was how he would take certain songs and read out the songs, and this was something the Black Panther Party in general would do. But they would. My mother would make jokes about me. She say, you or your father, neither one of y'all ain't got no rhythm. Y'all can't dance. I say no. And she say they'd be at this lounge and how he'd be there. And they'd be dancing. They'd be like, man, Chandler, you looking good. But intertwining in every aspect of our life, and still. That revolutionary discipline, times will be on point. What time, security. Like I said, even that meeting with Imam Malik, didn't know Jeff Ford, how, who he took. I mean, I want to point that out. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we had this, you hear people say, well, we all leaders and all. I said, that sounds good. That sounds real nice. You know what I'm saying? But you bet, I talked to a sister yesterday. She said, well, to me, she said, Chairman, I meet these people, they say they Black Panther. I said, I say, they can't sell that snake oil to me. I said, you go for that. I say, she say, in my mind, everybody that they they're Black Panther. I said, well, in your own mind, your own little world, do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? But the objective reality, there was an actual program, COINTELPRO targeted at at certain individuals, targeted at certain organizations. There's a concrete definition for the Black Panther Party. I tell people, I humble myself to that legacy. I chair the Black Panther Party Cubs. I say their Paul steps, their path of Paul steps. And that dynamic of discipline, you know, is something that is a necessary ingredient. It's a necessary ingredient. You know, I tell you, every year when we go from the ground zero, one of our ground zeros, we have the clinch fist salute, 5 minutes. You know, saying no talking. You know, and people ride past. They say, "Man, what's that for?" All these are different dynamics that we must have. You know, what I'm saying in the revolutionary organization. You know, what I'm saying revolutionary culture, because it's not just the respective organization. The people. You know, what I'm saying you hear. My mother would tell me stories how she, it'd be 3, 4 in the morning. The brothers had sisters who would be out there on the corner drinking. They power to the people. You know what I'm saying? How they would talk about the path. What's the latest articles in the Panther Party newspaper? It was that you can't you can't drink. You can't be on duty. You can't be high on duty. There's certain protocols. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, respecting and acknowledging the real world.
You know, I really respect comrades like Jamal Joseph. Jamal, up in Harlem, the work that he did with the Black Panther Party. Afeni Shakur, Tupac's mother. We had a very good relationship with the Afeni, and the sacrifice that people have to make. Nowadays, I think we're getting there, but the sacrifices that these leaders made, because many of them were brilliant, could have been doctors, lawyers, could have been rich businessmen and women if they wanted to. But the sacrifice that comes with struggle is what we're struggling with to get our people to realize you can't make revolution just after work.
Right on, comrade. I said on the set on the movie Judas and Black Messiah. I said I don't know. The generation is going to be able to grasp the significance of a free breakfast program. They said, why you say that? I said, you talking about a generation that was raised of Uber Eats. You know what I'm saying? That dynamic, you Deputy Minister of Health, Ronald Doc Satchel. I forgot what school he was. He was going to school. He was a college student. And when he heard Chairman Fred speak, I'm talking about, he left school. I'm talking about, man, he made sure that the people's advocate in the medical center made sure that you would talk to a respect. He said when you came to get medical attention, there's these, I call them war and love stories. I say you have a lot of people who can't depend on somebody to come do a jail visit for them. Imagine knowing about the discipline of somebody, man, when they going to forces like, man, say, cool, Dr. Matuda School and the others, man, going to get us out. I ain't talking about I'm talking bond out of jail. I'm talking, hey, we can talk, I acknowledge it now, you know what I'm saying? But these forces, that type of discussion, that type of camaraderie, that type of people, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes in case you're not even, Minister UEP not even meeting Field Marshal George Jackson face to face.
Right.
The closer they come being cells apart from each other. That type of to be disciplined, you know what I'm saying? To know when you go to another location. I took some young cats with me one time on a delegation, and it hit me. I said, man, this young cat, he think he's on vacation. I said, brother, I'm on a delegation. He said, on vacation. You know what I'm saying? We on a mission. You know what I'm saying? And like, they have no frame of reference to that. You know what I'm saying? To be committed to something. I like, even I'm going through some struggles now. I mentioned you when you was trying to get Mother Comrade. I'm gonna say this, and I'm still vetting it out. It was took some serious. We was under some serious attack December the 3rd, this few days ago. And I'm putting out there public. It was an assassination attempt, but right there in front of ground zero. Yes. It's a lot of stuff we've been going through. It's an entity that's trying to hijack the legacy of the Black Panther Party, and it's super serious. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even the security protocol is super serious. And I'm still in the more. One group said, I like this term. It's fresher than Colgate deep in the Watergate, and I'm seeing it's like I thirst for information because Black Panther Party information is raw material for new ideas. But there's so much stuff coming out now that, you know what I'm saying, that's revealing itself. That's it's mind blowing. So I'm taking it in as we speak. But I lost my train of thought because I'm just this was right in front of the ground zero, December the 3rd. Yeah. I'm still fleshing it out. I'll keep y'all updated. Yeah.
Keep you updated on that. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What's happening internationally, like the Sahel Revolution in Africa, Ibrahim Traore, and the BRICS group coming together and going against the IMF and the World Bank. We're witnessing the dying American empire. Witnessing the decline of the dollar. Is it challenging for you to make this connection to the young Black Panther Cubs and to your brothers and sisters in the neighborhood, connecting them with the international struggle, which is, the Black Panther Party had a base in Algeria and went to Cuba, China, and connected these struggles, Ho Chi Minh. And, when I was in the party, we had to study these revolutions, Kim Il-sung in North Korea, Ho Chi Minh and Mao Tse-tung, and, of course, Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, and all of these revolutionary movements was feeding our ideology and making that international connected, because we are an international African people fighting for liberation. How's that connection coming now?
Respectively, within the organization with the Cubs is one thing. We have political education. In fact, we use our weekly radio show, Freedom On Radio. We say in order to become a membership, you got to go through 6 weeks of political education. The Freedom On, similar to the Black Panther Party, has 6 weeks of political education.
Right. Correct.
However, and like even not just, even we make sure, like when I use social media, I go live, what's happening over here, and a lot of people have told me, you really make it applicable to what's going down. Because of course, we all been bombarded with the stereotypes about, Africa, other parts of the world, they don't like detached. So we draw those with the coalition work, and also using different means of technology, to make that correlation. However, a disadvantage, because none of us live in a bubble, nothing exists in a vacuum, that that climate that we were deprived of. Like I've often said, I'm a revolutionary in reactionary times. That was a revolutionary period. That with the ante was up. The type of conversations where you look at the Black Panther Party newspaper, people talking about the Tet Offensive in Vietnam, Kim Il-sung, North Korea. It was common discussion. And one of the tactics, in fact, the U.S. media, U.S. imperialism said itself, one of the biggest mistakes they had made was giving not only Vietnam media coverage, but Malcolm X media coverage. You know what I'm saying? They said that was a mistake they made.
Mm-hmm.
I just, even recently, it was hit so one thing within an organization, but a climate, when you have a reactionary climate. I was commenting, I'm making mention about an agent provocateur. And I kept saying the agent provocateur, and the lady said, I said, agent. She said, and the lady said, agent? I said, she couldn't even grasp. The term. I said, no, an agent. You know what I'm saying? So it's, and you see, we're in an era right now, it's terrible, but it's fine. We're in an era where the emperor has no clothes on. You see it it's been like and Lenin said that what takes people 20 years to learn in ordinary times, they can learn in 2 years in revolutionary times. So you see actions that have been occurring under the tenure of U.S. imperialism, but you see a rawness where it's forcing people to start getting politically educated. Like even with the commandeering, that's a nice word. I'll say the commandeering, the carjacking, the ship jacking of a Venezuela ship, your oil tanker. You know what I'm saying? Straight up, that's not no. I tell people, I say, you got to look at these different dynamics that's happening, because similar to when I think Trump's last tenure, when he's 45th president, they had brought it. They said, well, what about these detainee centers, these detainee cages? His response was, he said, that's been there since Jimmy Carter. You know what I'm saying? And so these are dynamics that have been existing, but similar to the era of Nixon. Nixon came out the campaign for law and order in the raw, pull the covers off and force feed people to say, hey, and ain't no. See, one thing about Black people in particular, sometimes the best teacher is either them saying it themselves or white people telling them. You know what I'm saying? Because David Walker said that David Walker's appeal, the most intelligent of African descent, can say something. It's going to become a doubt or suspicion. A white person from any walk of life can tell you it's going to take as a fact. If Trump, could you imagine if U.S. President Trump did not say that the U.S. took that ship what type of response people say. Well, maybe the ship just disappeared. You maybe you know what I'm saying, man. Hey, he point blank. So we're gonna be forced to get some real quick political education, and that's the necessary ingredient. For the, you know what I'm saying? Because people get involved in struggle, become conscious through inspiration, aspiration, or desperation. It was see in the 60s. I tell you, you cannot negate Nixon's role. You know what I'm saying? That boot, it helps force the political dynamic. You know what I'm saying? You try to run around these nice words and terms, and you got to check myself. The commandeering. No commandeering. They gangsters that took it.
They gangsters.
You know what I'm saying? And Field Marshal George Jackson say, "Sooner begun, sooner done." Because I tell you, spend lifetimes being filibustering, using words and terms, euphemisms. I'm saying up front, the other night, December 3rd, was an assassination of my life. And I battle with it because a lot of times we struggle as organizers if the people are willing or able to, can they take it? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times it's a process on, you know what I'm saying, politicize the people. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got to grant like seize the time and location, what's going on. But some things I gotta lay out for history's sake. You know what I'm saying? I made a comment the other day. I say Tupac was laying out in an objective, poetic way about puffy combs and likes, but people couldn't grasp it. They can take it through a 50 Cent and a Netflix. They you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times that state sanctioning makes it able to appeal they can swallow. You know what I'm saying? Because you lay this out in the world from the people, it's too much a raw appeal.
Let me say this to you, Brother Fred Hampton Jr., Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. We are so proud of you because, you know, I've been following your life, and you are not only a spitting image of your father and the style and energy and commitment, but also the spirit and love. So Fred Hampton Sr. will never die because of the way you are giving a breath to his life. And we're going to get your mother on again. She couldn't get through for technical reasons. But my sister, too, is just an iconic figure in our time. So we want you got about 2 minutes, let us know how people can get in touch with you. And if you have a project you're working on now that you want people to support.
First and foremost, let me extend revolutionary respect, love, and appreciation to you both. You are friends, you are comrades. You know, this ain't again. Sometimes I gotta say, a lot of people be black when it's beneficial. They plant their panthers when it's profitable, and connected cubs when it's comfortable. That's not the case with you all. You are consistent. You are consistent. I don't care what man, whether it be in your city halls or out on the protest on the battlefield. You are consistent. You are true, not role models, but real models. You know what I'm saying? So again, that means a lot coming from you all. I'm honored. You know, to walk in your Paul steps, and I mean that from the heart. My mother, comrade, Akua and Njeri, A1 from day one. I feel fortunate to fall from a tree of two freedom fighters. You know, and I commit. You know, I go through, but we all go through battle fatigue. You know, I just have some real. But again, it's in the spirit of steel sharpening steel, and men and women sharpening men and women. I'm glad to have this interview. I look forward to come back up with you again. Please go to SaveTheHamptonHouse.org, SaveTheHamptonHouse.org. And we got the campaign to save and maintain the Hampton House. The work we're doing there, they can go to Cash App, $ Save the Hampton House with ongoing programs we can continue to have to do right now today.
And we're so honored to have Fred Hampton Jr. on, and in the spirit his mother was with us, we're going to have her back on. But as we say each and every week, the truth shall set you free, and power is the great equalizer. Black power.
Black power. Black power. Free them all.